Hi guys, it's Amber from Amber Reads Books, and I'm here today to do my weekly reads video. This is the video where I discuss what I read last week, what I'm currently reading, and what I hope to read for the coming week. This past week, and this current week, have just been kind of rough for me. The weather here in Connecticut has not been warming up like I would hope, and it's just been kind of dreary. It's been raining for the last few days on and off, and I don't know, I just feel so like blah about like everything. I'm hoping that when the weather turns sunny and warm, hopefully soon, that my mood will definitely pick up. I'm just not made for cold weather, and I'm not made for cloudy, dreary weather either. But anyway, because I've been feeling that way, I just haven't been feeling like reading very much. I did manage to finish 2 books last week, but it's already Tuesday this week, and I've not read hardly anything. I've read a few pages of a book. So we will see how the rest of the week goes. But anyway, let's get into the books that I've read. As always, I'm going to start with my lowest ranked book, and that is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. This is a play. I knew that going in. I also didn't have very high expectations because I knew many people did not enjoy it. I will say though, at first I was like, all right, it's not so bad. I can read it. Because it's in a play format, I feel like there just wasn't enough like description of things or enough time in certain scenes with certain characters to really allow me to feel an attachment to them. Maybe as a play form, it would have been different, like seeing it in person would have been different, but overall the story didn't wow me either. I did feel like even how they wrote some of the characters that we all have come to know and love, I didn't feel like they sounded like themselves at times. I don't know, I kind of resented reading it. I was just like, why am I doing this to myself? Why? I should have just left well enough alone. I knew I wasn't gonna like it, so I only ended up rating it 2 stars. I mean, for a brief second, I kind of felt like, oh, it's kind of nice to be back in the world, but then every time I would read something else, it just kind of disappointed me. So not my favorite read at all. The first line in this book, we can call it that, was a busy and crowded station. The next book that I read this week was a fantastic one, though it took me 5 days to finish, and that was A Man Called Uwe by Frederick Bachman. One of the reasons why it took so long to finish, I think one of the reasons why I was just not getting into it right away, was the name. I know that it's Uwe because I looked it up. However, my simple brain could not figure that out and would just keep saying Ove. So finally, I don't know, a couple of chapters in, because I was just taking so painstakingly long to read it, I just said, you know what, we're gonna go with Ove. We're just gonna call him Ove. And then I read it and it was fine. It still took me a few days to finish because I just wasn't in the mood to read. But when I was reading the story, oh my gosh, what a story this was. It was just so wonderful. It was beautiful. This is a story of a man named Uwe who is old and he's alone now because his wife has passed away, and he's just crabby and cranky. He really reminded me of the movie Grumpy Old Men, how they kind of acted in that movie. There was someone else too that he reminded me of. Of course, now I can't think of it that I'm on camera. It just kind of flew out of my mind. But he was so great. He was funny too, not meaning to be, but just the way his character was so crabby and so grumpy, it was so funny to me. And it just kind of follows his journey as he meets these new neighbors and his life just kind of takes a turn. Wow, it just was wonderful. At first you kind of are reading it and you're like, well, this is good, but it's just okay. And there's just something about the way that he grew the character that just sunk into my soul and just made me fall in love with the story. By the end, when I closed this book, tears were literally streaming down my face. I'm a person that can, you know, I'll cry here or there, or a tear may fall down. I'm not the type of person who is normally like sobbing while I'm reading a book. And this book I was. It was just so wonderful. And it really cements the fact that Frederick Bachman is turning into one of my favorite authors. I cannot wait to read more works by him. The first line in this book is, Uwe is 59. So those were the books that I finished. The books that I'm currently reading. I have put on my Goodreads that I'm currently reading Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb, and I have not started it yet. I hope to get to it at some point this week. It's just so large that I can't carry this with me to work like I can some other books. So I'm only going to be reading this one while I'm at home. So it may take me even longer to finish. But it's 700 pages. This thing just weighs down my purse. I cannot carry it with me. So instead, while I'm working, I decided to pick up a second book and read that during those hours, which I don't really get a ton of time to read while I'm working. I only have maybe a half an hour a day because I get 2 15-minute breaks. But use that time wisely, right? And that book that I'm going to be reading is Born Standing Up, and this is written by Steve Martin. It's a memoir of his. And so far I really like it. I love Steve Martin. I've loved every movie he's ever been in. I love these end papers as well. It's him doing his stand-up, which is fantastic. I've seen his comedy specials. I just love Steve Martin so much, and I feel like if you love an actor or a person that you're reading the memoir about, it just makes it so enjoyable. So it doesn't matter to me how long it takes me to read. I'm just having a lot of fun with it. So now on to the books that I hope to read, or the books that I picked up from the library. Let's just call that this segment from now on, because who knows when I'll read them. I might throw in a book off my shelf here and there, but these are books that are new to me, and because I don't really do book hauls anymore because I haven't been going and buying books, this is kind of my little book haul segment for you guys. The first book that I picked up was Orphans of the Carnival by Carol Birch. I just saw this on someone's channel and thought what they said about it was great, so I just decided to pick it up. And anytime a book has to do with carnivals or circuses or museums even, it's probably a given that I'm going to pick it up. The next book that I picked up was another one that I just saw on someone's channel and thought, hey, that sounds interesting. And that is Beloved Poison by E.S. Thompson. When I added this to my Goodreads, I believe it says that this is the first in a series of books. So I will see. I will try this one and see how it goes, and if I like it, I will continue on. The next book that I picked to read was one that I've been wanting to read for a while, and that is Cullenbine by Dave Cullen. I wanted to read this nonfiction account many times over the years. I remember when this happened, and it was just very devastating to see on TV and to read about and hear about. I think I was in high school at the time, which made it even more so. I wanted to read this also because I know that there is another book out that is written by one of the boys' mothers, and I wanted to read this one first and then compare what she had to say in her account of it. So yeah, this will be my April nonfiction pick. And then the last book that I picked up is one that I'm super excited about, and that is The Blood Mirror by Brent Weeks. This is book 4 in the Lightbringer series. I adore this series. I read all 3 books within the last 6 months of 2016, and I just fell in love with the characters and the magic system. I just love it. So I cannot wait to get to this one. I was afraid that the libraries weren't going to have it because it was newer, or they weren't going to loan it out, because if a book is really new, sometimes libraries will not loan it out to other libraries, but I was able to request it and it came in, so I am so excited to get to this one. So those were all the books that I read, that I'm currently reading, and that I hope to read. I just hope my reading picks up not even this week. I'm kind of getting burnt out in general, because this weather, just please turn sunny and warm, because that would just lift my spirits so much. But anyway, I will try and read as much as I can, and I will see you back here again next week to discuss whatever it is that I was able to finish. I hope you guys have a great week, and happy reading.